Okay, so this is a fundamental question that a lot of new people ask, so I'm going to answer it. Do you find shippers are leery about working with brokers and agents versus directly with carriers? No, I don't find that. Here's why. There are going to be some companies that are going to say, we don't do business with brokers. That happens from time to time. It's a small minority. It's definitely not the majority. Most shippers do business with brokers. It's statistically proven. More freight is controlled by brokers today than it was last year on this day. There's more freight being run through brokers than there was ever in the history of freight brokerage. Do you understand that? So every year, freight brokers take on more freight from more shippers and more freight spend. So that's proof that it's more and more adopted, right? It's becoming more and more adopted. There's less resistance for freight brokers to start working with shippers and manufacturers and importer exporters direct, okay? So that's number one. Number two, there are going to be some people that are going to say we don't do business with brokers. In most cases, they're lying because they're already doing business with brokers. They're just not interested in doing with a new broker, okay? And then the third part is smart shippers understand that asset-based carriers are always going to be a core component of their business, but it's not an either or. They don't do business with brokers or do business with carriers. That's not how it works. They do business with both. There are some lanes and some types of freight which are better when they have dedicated carriers. And sometimes when a shipper can have that perfect world where they can have certain lanes covered with just asset-based carriers, that's a better solution. But there are other times when manufacturers have lanes where it's very hard to have a dedicated carrier on that lane. They're not frequent enough. It doesn't fit into their core carriers, their routing schedule. There's a million reasons why. Plus, as a shipper, you get leverage of having a broker who could have access to literally thousands of trucks versus just one carrier that might have one or two or five or six trucks. You know that the average trucking company, I think like statistically speaking, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's somewhere around here. 80% of trucking companies own less than 6 trucks. So the challenge is that at any given time, the average trucking company can only handle 6 loads in 6 lanes, right? And when shippers have more demand than that, they obviously can't leverage that carrier. So trust me when I tell you, brokers are a staple and a part and are woven into the logistics industry. You will run into some people that will say they don't do business with brokers. Don't waste your time. Focus on the people that are already using brokers or are interested in using brokers, and there are millions of them out there. So don't sweat the small stuff, okay? All right, guys, I hope that helps. Hey, if you enjoyed this Freight Broker Q&A, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the little bell to ensure that you get notified every time I release a new video. And if you have questions, make sure you add them in the comments below, and who knows, maybe I'll use one of your questions on a future Freight Broker Q&A.